Hi, everybody. It's your favorite parasocial internet guy, BRG. And we're on day two of Strike Watch. 13,000 brave workers of the United Auto Workers have walked out and are on a strategic stand up strike. Just an advisory. If you're considering crossing a picket line to make you a few coins, don't. Do not ever cross a picket line. I actually caught two people at work talking about this. And I had to instruct them in a calm, patient, comradely fashion that that is a fucked up thing to do. We can only win if we display solidarity as a class. Because if we do not display class solidarity, if we take the boss's coins and we're like, you know what, fuck it, I don't know anybody out there on that picket line, so fuck them, I'm gonna go make me some money. You can't do that. Don't do that. Do not do it. Because someday, hopefully, the day will come when you march on the boss. And you would not want anybody to throw salt in your game like that for the sake of temporary monetary gain, would you now? So treat others as you would like to be treated. So let's delve into it. Um, Pretty active day today. A lot of people out. Uh, Congressman, Congresswoman, I'm sorry, representing the district next to mine. I'm represented by Super Karen Ann Wagner. But Cori Bush has been firmly in support of striking workers. St. Louis and I stand in solidarity with our UAW Local 2250 siblings who went on strike today for better wages and working conditions. Record profits should mean record wages. And we also have UMass Amherst grad workers who are doing a sit in outside the chancellor's office demanding that he meet with grad workers to discuss a fair contract. Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine is in support. He actually did a video um, um, where he basically all but declared support for the Communist Party of Peru back in the 90s. So a lot of Maoists know him and look up to him because of that. This is Detroit. Good turnout. Lovely red. Fists in the air. You're supposed to raise your left hand. That's what I was told. Because we're leftists. Because we're communists. But I digress. This is Winstville. Brother front and center. Two brothers front and center. Um, like I said last night, UAW was referred to by the Dodge Revolutionary Union movement as standing for "You Ain't White," but now UAW really ain't white. Like every picture of strikers that I've seen has a substantial amount of black people in the front because class struggle in this country is a new African. It is a black struggle. So you cannot separate the struggle for self determination for black people from the struggle for workers' liberation because they're intertwined. Jay Sakai tells us that black people were literally imported to be the proletariat in this country. That's why read Settlers is more than just a meme. You really have to read Settlers to understand how integral black people are to the economic foundation and success of the United States of America. You've got National Nurses United. This has been a very very talked up labor action because it's new. Like labor unions in this country have not done anything like this before. And hats off. Well, I'm not wearing a hat. I always say hats off because I usually keep my cap on when I'm outside, when I'm around people, because I don't want them to see my receded hairline. But hats off to Sean Fain, who literally sound like his name sounds like one of those fake names that the provisional IRA used to use. Like, hello, this is Sean Fain, and you need to evacuate Teddy's Bar. So I like the guy's name, but hats off to him and his colleagues for putting this together. I really love the use of red here.
Shut him down! 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 Shut him down!
The guy over here is wearing a shirt that says solidify. And Labor Notes has been front and center covering this. Really like this article here. Scenes from the auto workers' strike. No justice, no Jeeps. The strike is on. Last night, the United Auto Workers, UAW, shut down 3 major assembly plants at Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis, formerly Chrysler. It's the first time in history the union has struck all 3 companies at work at once. So, like, these are blue chip American companies, okay? Like, these are companies that when you think of America, when you think of the American economy, when you think of the American middle class, so to speak, you think of these 3 companies. You think of Chrysler, you think of General Motors, and you think of Ford. So this is the first time that any union has like targeted all 3 of these companies at once. So my home state, at 10:30 p.m. Central Time, Kim Forsham got off her 8-hour shift assembling front fascia on Chevy Colorado trucks at GM's Winsville Assembly Center near St. Louis. Strike news had spread like wildfire on the floor. Managers, scared of sabotage, locked the bathroom doors minutes before the strike began. With 100 others, Forsham headed to the UAW Local 2250 Hall to volunteer for the first picket shift. Working 5 years as a temp, starting in 2017, motivated her to stand and fight for higher pay and ending wage tiers. What really gets me is how the news talks like we get $60 or $70 an hour, Forsham said on the line. None of us make that. We get $32 an hour if we're lucky. New temps get $16 an hour and no raises, no vacation, and no sick days. It's hard to live like that. When the strike clock struck at 11 p.m. Central Time, teams of 15 leapt out of vans to picket every gate of the plant. Workers on night shift walked off the job and drove out of the parking lots in a 40-minute-long procession, honking and shouting. Forsham said the new reform leadership of the UAW, under Sean Fain, was doing an excellent job. They've communicated with us so much more. They're not selling us on less. The old leaders, they kept it all close to their chest because they were looking out for themselves, not the membership. That's probably why they're all in jail. So they actually delved into the history of this union local, which I really liked. The Winsville, Missouri local has proudly held on to a culture of hardcore, old-school unionism, as one older worker put it. In the 1980s, alongside other plants across Missouri, members here were a driving force for the New Directions Reform Caucus, which pushed for a democratic union and shop floor actions against concessions. The local has successfully stood up to outsourcing of parts handling jobs to non-union or lower-tier workers. With coordinated refusals, workers held on to the right to do one job instead of being forced to rotate among 3. Job rotation and outsourcing have become widespread concessions at many GM plants. Tommy Spraggins has 38 years in as a production worker at Winsville. He cheerfully told others on the picket line Friday morning how he planned a vote no if the raise right off the bat is only 10%. That's just $3 an hour. The GM CEO, she got 36% in raises since our last contract, making $26 million, Spraggins said. Like Fain said, they're price gouging the American public for billions of profits. They don't earn that sitting around eating bonbons. And they don't get our swollen knees, chimed in Chrissy Spencer, who has assembled trim and van bodies at the plant for 12 years. Job security is a hot topic at Winsville. GM has said it will remove its profitable full-size van from the plant by 26. Workers on the line discussed rumors that a current body shop expansion would bring in an electric version of that van. Ron Rotker, who has 38 years in, said the plant would welcome electric vehicle work, but not without concerns. For Stellantis, EVs have been an excuse to close a lot of plants like Belvedere. There may not be as many jobs like ours. That's why we've got to organize the battery plants like Ultium did. The threat of moving factory jobs to Mexico came up, but so did solidarity with and from Mexican workers. When a GMC Terrain SUV drove by the morning picket, one worker noted that it's built in Mexico. Jennifer Ryan, with 8 years at the plant, jumped in to say, "Did you see that video the Mexican workers made supporting us? They've got a new union and it's awesome." Let's see that video. Because, like, this is international solidarity. People always talk about how American workers do not stand up for for workers in other countries. But they stand up for us. They stand up for American workers. So let's see. Where the fuck are you? See if I can find it on YouTube. God damn it. I just saw it earlier today. I hope they didn't take it down. Ah, fuck. Oh, well. But yeah, Mexican workers released a video expressing solidarity with UAW workers on strike in the U.S., which I unfortunately cannot find. Nah, man. They're also being really, really innovative with chants. Like last night in Winsfield, they were chanting, "This is what democracy looks like." Now they're saying, let me see, what are they saying?
No Jeep, fuck them all. Broncos, no Jeep, fuck them all. Broncos and Jeep, fuck them all.
Broncos and Jeeps, fuck them all.
Broncos and Jeeps, fuck them all. Broncos and Jeeps, fuck them all. Broncos and Jeeps, fuck them all.
Organic proletarian culture. It's far better than those weirdos saying that proletarians don't have sex. I gotta find that fucking video. Oh, fuck me. Oh, well. Regardless, international solidarity is building. And what Jennifer Ryan said regarding the video that Mexican workers made is important because, yeah, American workers are extremely prone to chauvinism, and combating that is extremely important, and that can only be combated through consistent and constant work on the shop floor. It has to be on the fucking UAW page. Now I'm hyper focused on this fucking video. That's the thing with me. Like, once I get my head set on something, I don't stop till I get it. Otherwise, I'm going to be thinking about it all fucking night. Damn. That was a fucking good video. They've just been sharing stuff about various actions all day. Various groups, celebrities in solidarity. People say that celebrities are useless to struggle, but like, no. If you have an account with millions of supporters, how the fuck are you useless? Coming out in support of a class struggle action. Oh well. I used to beating myself up over it. Maybe I'll come across it in my doom scrolling tomorrow, and I'll show it before the movie night where I'm going to be watching Concerning Violence, which is based on Frantz Fanon's Wretched of the Earth. The bourgeoisie obviously have been losing their shit over it. They're locking people in the fucking bathroom at factories. But what are you gonna do? Bourgeoisie is going to bourgeoisie. Fuck is this? Stop. That is a horrible mashup. So this is an interview with a couple of people in the know. Strike FAQs and lessons from the General Motors strike of 2019.
Hello everyone, we're on the eve of potentially one of the most important strikes of our lifetime, where we stand to get back everything that we lost during bankruptcy. Brothers and sisters, it's time to be made whole. We're here today to go over some basic, frequently asked questions with y'all to get you ready for this strike and talk about some of the lessons from the General Motors strike of 2019. So without further ado, Jesse, what is a strike?
A strike is where we collectively withhold our labor. This is extremely important moving forward so that we can send a message to the companies that they're no longer going to exploit us and we're willing to withhold our
Good definition.
labor until we get our fair share of the pie.
I like it. So how much
Your fair share of the pie, it's all of it, by the way.
is UAW strike assistance and how often is it paid?
So strike assistance is now $500 per week. That was won at the last Constitutional Convention. Well, it was fought at the last Constitutional Convention, and then later the International Executive Board approved it. And it's also now going to start on the first day of strike, which was something that we won actually at the Constitutional Convention. So we will get $500 a week. It will be prorated to $100 a day for every day missed Monday through Friday.
Fantastic. And we all got to worry about benefits, right? So tell us about what kind of medical benefits will be covered during the strike. And also, when do our benefits run out?
So our company paid benefits will typically run out at the last day of the month that a strike is called. So for us specifically at this time, if we go out on strike on September 14th at 11:59 p.m., we should essentially have benefits until the end of the month. However, during the 2019 strike, we seen that General Motors, in a fit of anger, pulled our benefits even though there was absolutely no incentive to do that. So they did end up pulling our benefits a little bit early, so we always have to be prepared for that possibility.
The bourgeoisie is an extremely petty class.
And that retaliation. So the benefits that will be covered under the Strike and Defense Fund will be medical and prescription drugs. We will not cover vision or dental. I'm hoping that every member got the memos and got their dental appointments in and their vision appointments in, but we will cover medical and prescription drugs. If you are a member that has extensive medical bills right now, or somebody in your family that's covered under your health insurance has extensive medical bills, that looks like chemo or radiation or a surgery or a pregnancy, then you will bring your COBRA bill to the hall when it's time for you to sign up, and you will continue under COBRA. Other members that just need medical and prescription will come in and we'll get you signed up on the union's plan.
So who is eligible for strike benefits?
Everybody that is a member in good standing is eligible for strike benefits. So that means as long as you are a member in good standing, you're on active payroll. What on active payroll means is that if you are on medical leave, you will not be eligible because you will not go on a strike until you're back from your medical leave. If you're on layoff, you will not go on a strike with us until they have communicated back to you that you're no longer on a layoff. But if you are a member and you're participating in the strike and you're doing your due diligence and you're doing your duty, then you will be eligible for strike pay and benefits.
Nice. So pretty much anybody who's in good standing, they're going to be eligible.
That's absolutely correct. That includes temporary employees and brand new hires.
Fantastic. So how do I apply for these strike benefits?
So once a strike is called, the International Union will communicate to the leadership of Local 160, and we will send out on the text messaging program as well on our website and through social media the appropriate times for each individual to come to the hall and sign up for their strike pay and their benefits.
Cool. So what about, let's say $500 a week isn't enough for me and I want to go out and get another job to support my family. What kind of stipulations are there around getting another job while we're on strike?
Any member that wants to get another job can absolutely do so. The stipulation is that if you make over $500 a week, that your pay will cease with the strike and defense fund, but your medical insurance will continue. So as long as you're doing your duty on the strike line, we will keep you and your family covered under medical. But if you make more than $500 at the other job, we do ask that you let us know, you inform us, and so that that pay will stop. This is just so that we can protect.
Yeah, that's well, I should at least let her finish her sentence. That was rude.
The strike and defense fund and stay out as long as possible and as long as needed to get an agreement that makes sense for everybody.
So yeah, they're just talking about like how they're prepping for it and nuts and bolts stuff for UAW members so that they're not fucked.
That I got off was I physically got sick, like exhausted, and went to the
there's a thing with like pat socks and MAGA communists, like, oh, the proletariat is always shaved head or closely cropped hair. They're always male, and they really hate Starbucks baristas with blue hair. And this is an actual proletarian, okay? This is, well, third worlders would call her a labor aristocrat. But this is an actual proletarian who does not resemble the dude on the Soviet posters. That's why I've always been critical of, well, not even critical. I fucking despise people who are like, oh, nobody cares about NB baristas with septum rings. Like, come on. People's appearance, first of all, doesn't matter, okay? There's actually a group of people in the Congo called Les Sepours who, like, literally, they dress up in extremely expensive. Like, they have novel, unique ways of getting this stuff. Extremely expensive designer European clothing. And they, like, walk through the streets like this because it's like beauty out of poverty. So we have to consider people's political line and what their position is relative to capital. So MAGA communists, as always, get fucked. You have a proletarian with dyed hair and a choker who has done more for the working class movement than you ever will. Talking about fucking Soviet realist portrayals of workers. That shit is racist and ableist. And all other sorts of bad ists that we should not be allowing into our movement. Granted, Pat sucks and MAGA communists and Spanky type people. I call Caleb Maupin Spanky because of his sexual proclivities. Watch my video on cults if you want to learn more about fucking Caleb Maupin's sexual proclivities. But people like that, they don't have any actual connections with American workers. They have an idealized portrayal. They have an idealized picture of what American workers are like. American workers look like this. American workers are black. American workers are brown. American workers are undocumented. So you have to take that into consideration and not say stupid, horrible, misogynist, homophobic, queerphobic, all other types of phobic things about people.
ER, and that was how I got a day off. They will literally work you until you fall.
I have to work 2 jobs, you know, and that takes a lot of time from my kids. It takes a lot of time from my...
This shirt, Rudy's shirt talks about your wine garden rights. It says, if this discussion could in any way lead to my being disciplined or terminated or affect my personal working conditions, I respectfully request that my union representative, office, or steward be present at this meeting. Without representation, I choose not to answer any questions. Get my rep. Good reminder.
family.
Occasionally I will get shipped in on Sunday, so I will work 7 days in a row, which would be 70 hours.
I know a lot of people are like, oh, you guys are just crybabies. And it's like, no, we're not. We shouldn't have to work this hard, go through all these hoops just to make a living. Like, having a union job used to mean something.
I see full-timers, they can work 40 hours a week and they're good. I would like to work 40 hours a week and be able to take care of my family.
It just sucks. We're working full-time hours. Why am I still only a supplemental? Why am I still only a temp if I'm doing the exact same amount as a full-time?
Hey, look, here's another individual with colored hair. That sucks, and MAGA communists will say that he's not a real worker. But here he is, again, doing more for the working class movement than Caleb Maupin has.
So full-timers, they make double what we make.
The girl working next to me is literally making $32 an hour, and I'm sitting a little over 17. Like, there's no difference in what we are doing. We are physically doing the same jobs.
As a supplemental, you start out at $15.78 an hour. After 4 years, you reach the maximum you can get, $19.28 an hour. You cannot get any more raises after that. When it comes to full-time, they start out at $17 an hour, and they cap out at $32 an hour. I'm currently capped out at $19.28 an hour.
Your full-timers that have the 401ks and the...
That's a method to, like, divide the working class against each other. Because you figure the full-timers, they're like, oh, we're comfortable. We have our benefits. And, like, you have the temps that are naturally going to be the most radical. That's fucking dirty. Like, that's just another ruling class method to divide workers against each other. Like she said, I don't know what their pronouns are. Like they said, they're physically doing the exact same jobs. So that just generates tensions and problems and struggle amongst workers on the line.
top out at 32 or 33, get their days off, their profit sharing, their health, dental, vision.
We don't get quality bonuses, we don't get sick pay, we don't get bereavement.
Like, we're not making what we should be making. And that's not me being a greedy millennial. That's the truth.
And here's another thing. Like, it is right to be greedy, okay? The ruling class is fucking greedy. The ruling class is fucking greedy. That's why 13,000 people are on strike. Because the ruling class is fucking greedy. These CEOs are constantly getting bonuses, constantly getting pay increases. Workers are fucking frozen. So it is right to be... It is right for the proletariat to be greedy. As a matter of fact, it is healthy. It is encouraged for the proletariat, for the working class, to be greedy. Because when you're greedy, you're working in your own self-interest. You're moving towards becoming what Lenin would call a class for itself. A class for itself is a class that functions and moves as a class in its class interests. So it is right to be greedy. As Gordon Gekko would say, greed is good if you're a worker. Because the bourgeoisie sure as fuck knows that greed is good. They're eating, slopping off the fucking trowel, and they're throwing working people, the people who make it possible for them to make $28 million a year and get a $7 million bonus on top of that. Like, they do nothing. They are exploiters. So if the exploiters are greedy, if the exploiters consistently shaft workers, then it's perfectly fine. You know what? Wreck the fucking economy. Wreck the fucking economy. Make them suffer. Make them pay until you get what you want and what you're entitled to.
Being at the bottom, you kind of get what nobody wants to do.
So it starts to toll on you. And like you could be 25 feeling like you're 45.
When I was on the line, I ended up having a seizure. I was terrified. Honestly, I thought I was gonna die. I thought I was gonna die there at work. And I ended up having to have a brain surgery. After the surgery, I was out of work for a while. And as a SC, we don't get paid sick leave. So I had to basically come back as soon as possible because I had no money coming in. They were marking me absent even though I was in the ER, even though they know I left work in the ambulance. I was terrified that I was gonna lose my job and I'd have absolutely nothing.
When you're sick, like this dude has had a fucking brain surgery and they're marking him absent. This dude left work in a fucking ambulance. Like there's nothing he could do. This just shows the fucking ruthlessness and callousness of these people. They do not give a fuck about you. And CEOs are always quick to claim, like, we're a family here. We take care of our work. No, your workers take care of you. This man has fucking staples and stitches in his head. He just had his fucking brain cut open. And he had a seizure, making you rich. And you repay him by, first of all, paying him a shit wage. And then shafting him when he's in the fucking hospital bed.
Nothing to come back to.
I've missed funerals. I've missed birthdays. I'm gonna try not to curse, but it feels like trash.
I didn't realize that coming into it. I didn't know that there was people there for 7, 8 years who aren't full-time yet.
It's something I've just been waiting for so long to happen that I've put so much off. Like I could have gone to other places and make more than I'm making now, but I've held on to the hope that I will roll over at some point because I love my job. I love making the Jeeps. I'm proud of the Jeeps. I want to be a part of the Jeep history, so it's something I want to stay a part of.
This time around, we're like, no, these are things we want, and we don't want to back down.
I've been told throughout this thing that we've set expectations too high. You're damn right we have.
I would like to see a time cap on how long you can be a part-time worker. I'd like to see a lot of the ones that have been here already, you know, me, myself included, become full-time, have that opportunity.
We can make it better. Will it be overnight? No, but I want to be part of that and help make it better if I can.
And I want a steady schedule. I don't want just, oh, hey, you got to come in. Well, what if I got plans? Well, that sucks. You got to cancel them plans. You got to come in. It's so frustrating.
I don't live to work, but it's felt like that for a while. You know, I want to, you know, work and be able to live.
I know for a fact a lot of people that have physically said if this contract is trash, they're leaving. They might not have a lot of supplementals if they don't treat us right this next contract.
I will be one of the first ones on that line, picketing, striking, ready to go. I'm sure there's thousands of employees ready to go.
Nearly 99% of us voted yes to support a strike. That's proof Toledo's ready.
Let's hear some more from Sean Fain because I love this guy. This was September 15th. Well, it was uploaded on September 15th. I don't know when it was recorded, but yeah, for what they're saying, I believe that it was recorded before the strike.
Sit back.
So, like I said, this guy, Sean Fain, he is scaring the shit out of the ruling class because, like, he's a maverick. He's not like Walter Reuther. He's not like predictable. He's not going to sit down and smoke a cigar and go to lunch with you because that's not his job. His job is to represent the interests of thousands of workers.
To this UAW strike with our next guest, Harry Wilson, Chairman and CEO of Mava Group. He's previously the senior member of President Obama's task force. Harry, it's good to see you this morning. You make some some points we want to talk about here. Welcome. Good. How are you?
Great, Joe. Great to be with you.
Been a while. We keep hearing, we heard Sean Fain the other day, minimize the effect of what actually labor costs are in relation to an automaker's overall income statement, or whatever you want to look at, 7%, 8%, 9%, I forget what it was. You point out that that is very misleading because of the way things work. It's such a low margin business that a raise like this, free cash flow could be decimated. So the company could never basically have a hard time innovating or investing.
That is bullshit. That is bullshit. All you have to do is look at the history of socialist countries. There was much innovation and investment. What he's arguing for, what this guy on the left is arguing for, is like, basically they want the cash flow to be dictated by the needs and interests and whims of the shareholders and the CEOs and other top executives. They want more of that shit flowing into their pocketbooks. That is why the IWW's preamble says that, like, the working class and the employing class have nothing in common, because the less you make, the more you're fucked over, the more they make. They like their $28, $30 million salaries every year. They like their $12 million bonuses. So, yeah, they're going to keep you in a 2-tier wage system if you let them. They're going to keep fucking you over if you let them. And they have assholes like this. I'm reading this book, The CIA is Organized Crime, by Doug Valentine. Like, he basically talks about, like, how much of the American media is dominated by the ruling class. It's dominated by, of course it's fucking dominated by the ruling class, but, like, it's literally dominated by the CIA. And he talks about the class composition of the CIA. Like, these are ruling class mercenaries. Like, if you're known to be a communist, or even if you're a progressive, like if you're a liberal Democrat, they're not going to hire you at the fucking CIA. They don't want you at the fucking CIA. They want ruling class mercenaries. They want people who are apt to become fascists. Those are the types of people that they use. Those are the types of people that want in the CIA. And Valentine actually talks about how CIA agents actually work undercover in many instances as journalists. And the editors, the big poobahs at places like the New York Times, CNBC, Fox News, etc., like, these people in many cases have intelligence connections, or they have connections, like direct familial or personal connections to big business. That's how you get hired when you're in the commanding ranks of the bourgeoisie. You get hired based on who you know, who you went to Harvard with, who you went to Skull and Bones with, who you go drinking with. So these people, they don't give a fuck about the UAW workers. They don't give a shit about the people who make them rich. They see them as stooges. They see them as tools. And anytime somebody does something that is contrary to their interests in the slightest way, they rip out the concern trolling. Oh, they're hurting us. They're hurting themselves in the process. Cash flow. All of these big technical terms they learned at Wharton, they don't mean shit to the people on the ground. Pay them what they are worth. As a matter of fact, let's just take every fucking thing.
Yeah, look, I think the most important thing that comes out of this process, however it gets resolved, is to make sure the companies have a sustainable framework for long-term success, which is what we created back
The companies. What about the fucking workers?
in 2009. And that involves a number of things, but part of it is the ability to invest in research, innovation, and growth and development. That's good for the companies. It's good for the workers. And
how the fuck do you know what's good for the workers? Have you ever done anything with your hands? Anytime you have a guy that looks like this, okay, he's trying to portray this casual look. He's got on the black suit. He's got the shirt casually unbuttoned. Like, they've affected that since the late 90s. They try to appear approachable. But, like, anytime you have somebody working for a group called Mave Group, or matter of fact, any type of group with those 3 letters, CEO at the end, like, they don't know what the fuck is good for the workers. They only care and they only know what's good for them.
Happened in the past that led to the failures of General Motors and Chrysler in 2009 was because they had uncompetitive deals, not just on labor, but across the board, made bad product decisions. And as a result, didn't make that investment and ultimately failed because they weren't able to compete long term. And so to me, the real focus needs to be on that same shared sacrifice, shared success that we established in 2009 that held for more than a decade. And because of the record inflation we just went through, increases in auto prices and profits and the old collective bargaining agreement that was violated in the last few years. And that now we're playing catch up. So creating a deal that allows for addressing that with significant wage increases, significant ratification bonuses, but keeping that in a sustainable framework to still allow for long-term success through investment, that's the balance that needs to be struck by both sides.
Yeah, I was only giving you one side of the coin. I was going to get to what you just highlighted, and that is that you did reach an agreement that was necessary, which was a long time ago now, even though it doesn't seem like that long ago, of shared sacrifice and shared profits. But I don't know if the agreement's been reached, but certainly the workers got the short end of the stick in recent years. The wage increases didn't keep up with what.
Wow, a fucking finance bro. Well, he's not even a finance bro anymore. He's a finance dad. A fucking finance dad saying that workers get the short end of the stick. Wow, he's almost a communist. Actually, Jim Cramer used to be a Trot. Like, I think he used to be in a Trotskyist organization or something. And a lot of the ML types are making hay with that.
Nobody knew we were going to have inflation this high, but they've got a legitimate beef. So as you point out,
you know what stops inflation? Price freezes. Like, you can literally be like, hey, you cannot charge above this on things.
There's got to be a middle ground here. I don't know if it's 40%. Yeah. What is your solution? What would bring them into, what would make it fair? And I hate using the term fair because it's in the eye of the beholder, but what would make
it... you hate using the term fair because you're a fascist.
It fair to rectify that their wages have not kept up in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think that violation of that shared sacrifice, shared success wasn't intentional. It was because the collective bargaining agreement, the last one, was negotiated pre-pandemic, and no one anticipated the inflation we've been through. And so the question is, given what's happened and given the outlook over the next 5 years, which is what this agreement would be for, what's fair to address that? And if you look at...
I also love how, like, these people act like inflation is just something that just exists. Like, the ruling class is directly responsible for inflation. Like, they act like, oh, the price of milk just mysteriously rose by 50 cents. It's like, no, some asshole jacked up the price of milk by 50 cents so that he can make more money using whatever as an excuse.
Just the compounding of inflation from the last 2019 when the last agreement began through today.
And these people are making me fucking sick. I can't listen to that. That dude looks like a fucking ghost. I can't fucking stand this guy. I want to see Sean Fain. The one good white man.
Well, not before we hear from someone special. Somebody who did something historic. Somebody who took the big three out one by one. Somebody.
I wish he was actually taking them out and kneecapping them one by one.
Who's bargaining for the middle class, who's bargaining to end
the middle class. I hate that term. The middle class, the middle class, the middle class. But we're in America, so can only expect so much.
Tears, who's bargaining for a strong contract, who's bargaining to end COLA. Our international president, Sean Fain.
Take a stand, take a stand. Everybody, come take my...
Okay, they're using Eminem. I mean, it is Detroit, so.
If you feel, I'm not afraid. Come take.
Sorry. But you won't take the stick out these words before I say them. That's right. All right. So good afternoon, UAW family and friends. Again, to the big three. Can you... Another casualty.
God, this audio is trash.
5 plants the big three have shut down in the last 20 years. It's got to stop. Looking out at this sea of red shirts today, I see power. Power of united class. Right now, at Ford's Michigan Assembly Plant.
Not on Twitter, I'm on YouTube.
Right now, at Stellantis' Toledo Assembly Plant. And right now, at GM's Wentzville Assembly Plant. Around 13,000 of our members are on strike. And depending on what happens as we continue bargaining, more may be joining them really soon.
No, that's something that's fucking up on their end.
For the first time in our history, we're on strike. Not just against Ford, not just against Chrysler, not just against GM, but all three. As we've said for months, nobody should be surprised. The target was the big three. And that's because all three have made record profits. In the last 6 months alone, they made $21 billion. That's money that our workers, the work of our people, create. In the last decade, they made $250 billion.
Jesus.
$250 billion. While our workers have went backwards. All three of the big three have price gouged American consumers. They've ripped off the U.S. taxpayer. And all three have nickel and dimed the American worker. All three have failed to recognize the contributions that our workers make, the sacrifices we've endured. You know, the retirement insecurity that over half of our workers don't have anymore. That's what you have to look forward to after you worked in the big three for 30 years. Knee replacements, shoulder surgeries, and no post-retirement health insurance, and no damn retirement security.
Oh my God, he used to swear.
We've created these profits, and these companies have forced our hand. You know, over the last 8 weeks, the CEOs didn't seem to be able to find the time to show up for bargaining. But in the last week, in the last 24 hours particularly, the CEOs and the executives have found a lot of time to be able to go on corporate news and talk the talk. And we all know what they say. They say they can't pay us a decent wage. But there's always money for another stock buyback. They say they can't provide a dignified retirement. But there's always another special dividend for Wall Street. They say they can't provide a cost of living allowance. But there's always millions of more for the CEOs to bump their salaries up. You know,
so just 6 minutes in, I really like his use of class struggle language. Like, you listen to any other union head talk, like, it's always just like, it's basically unable to differentiate from like a garden variety liberal politician. This guy has some real fire. Like, if he runs for something up there, he's definitely going to win, because like he's doing something that has never been done before, striking all three of these big auto manufacturers at the same time. And he's actually sincere. Like, he actually means what he says. He's not selling out his workers like a lot of these people want to do. So, and like I said last night, this dude is a lot further left than he's letting on. Like, if he was any further left in public, he wouldn't have his job. So, like I said, I like this guy.
Mary Barra, CEO of General Motors, was on CNN just this morning. And they, of course, gave her an 8.5-minute segment.
Don't say what so loud.
And she said every management talking point you'd expect to hear. And in those 8.5 minutes, she made more money doing nothing than any auto worker in America makes in over 2 weeks. The day before that, Jim Farley, CEO of...
He also has like a really Mao-like ability to take anecdotes, to bring this stuff down to the average ordinary worker's level. Like, he's not using all of this rarefied theoretical language, and he's not speaking corporate gibberish. Like, he's saying, hey, your CEO, well, the CEO of the company that you work for, was on CNN and she made more in 20 minutes of talking bullshit than you do in 2 fucking weeks. Like, that pisses people off. This dude is a master of rhetoric.
Ford was on CNBC, sitting right over here. He said if they give us economic justice, it would bankrupt the company.
That's actually true. Like, if workers were paid the value of their labor, it would bankrupt the capitalists. That's why we need socialism.
He talked about how we can't pay auto workers too much because then public school teachers and firefighters would get left behind.
Like, they really care about fucking public school teachers and firefighters. It's called concern trolling. I can't help you because then these other people will be fucked off. You don't give a shit about any of these other people. You don't. You only care about yourself when you're a CEO.
I don't know where the hell he's been living, but public school teachers and firefighters, everybody's been left behind. Even paying us the shit that they pay us. That man made $21 million last year. In their economy, the CEOs get everything, and the working class gets shit on. In their economy, workers live paycheck to paycheck.
Somebody just said, eat the rich.
While the billionaires buy another yacht. In their economy, we make all the sacrifice, and they take all the profit. In their economy, one of our workers would have to work 400 years to make what a CEO makes in 1 year. So we're going to wreck their economy because it only works for the billionaire class.
Holy shit. You have a president of a major union saying that we are going to wreck their economy. This dude is a Maoist.
You know, it's sad. We look what we've been through in the last 15 years. The banks get bailed out, and we get our homes foreclosed on. The big three get billions of our tax dollars to fund an EV transition. They got billions of dollars to get bailed out while the workers got left behind. They want to use scare tactics now, saying we're going to wreck the economy. All the pundits are saying that now. All the media talking heads. It's going to wreck the economy if we get economic and social justice. We're not going to wreck the economy. We're going to wreck their economy. You know, I find it pathetic when they try to use scare tactics. They want to scare the hell out of everybody, not just our members, the working class in general. They want to make you think you don't deserve your fair share. They want you to be afraid because they're afraid. They're afraid because they see their system where the billionaires keep everything crumbling. And we're not afraid. You know, I say this a lot.
This should have got Eminem to come address the rally. That would have been some funny shit.
I love this quote by Malcolm X when he talked about freedom back in the civil rights fight. When he said, when a person tells you they believe in freedom, but in the next breath they'll tell you what they won't do to get it, that person...
He's quoting Malcolm again. And like, this isn't just something to pander to black people. Like, he quoted Malcolm last night to an assembly of 95% white people in Kokomo, Indiana, which you could tell by the name of the city. Not that many black people live in Kokomo. But dude really loves Malcolm. Wonder what he thinks of the Dodge Revolutionary Union movement.
doesn't believe in freedom.
I wonder if he's read Detroit. I Do Mind Dying. That's the name of the book. I have it on a shelf behind me. But I wonder if he's read that. I bet you he has. Like, this dude is pretty sharp for an old white UAW president. Like, this dude knows some shit.
And it's the same for us in our fight. We have to do whatever we have to do by any means necessary. We have nothing to fear. The only limit we have is the limit we put.
I thought he was going to say we have nothing to fear but fear itself. I'm like, come on, man. You can't just transition from Malcolm X to FDR like that.
On ourselves. We've got to stop it. No limits. Look around. You know who's scared? The corporate media is scared. The billionaire class is scared. And the big three is scared.
This man is just going to haul off and say bourgeoisie one day. Like, it's going to happen.
I look around here. I see power. You bet. I see faith. And I see a working class that is fed up and fired up. I see working class people from all walks of life standing together. UAW friends and family, there's only one thing left to do. When I asked you if you were ready to rumble, you all said you were. You all know what we need to do, and now the whole world knows what we need to do. When they tell us to sit down, we stand up. When they tell us to shut up, we stand up. And when they tell us to give up, we stand up. Stand up. Are you ready to stand up? Then let's stay in the fight and let's go to it. Thank you.
Good man. I never thought I would see, like, an old, balding white man with glasses, like, quote Malcolm X like that, but it's been a weird fucking year. Yeah, pickets. Famous people at pickets. DSA members at pickets. History. That's the UAW strike on day 2. Dr. Sebi. If you know who Nipsey Hussle is, you know who Dr. Sebi is. Very influential health influencer in the New African black working class. So we were talking about black working class people on strike. Now we're talking about, like, who the black working class listens to in their free time. So if you hang around a black barbershop long enough, if you work with black people, you'll eventually hear about Dr. Sebi. So, this has been something that's, like, been the case for hundreds of years. Wherever the working class exists, if you cannot afford to go to a fucking hospital, or you cannot afford a regular visit with a primary care physician, like, I work at a homeless shelter, okay? Like, I regularly talk to and interact with people who have not been to the dentist since they were kids, and they're now 40-something years old. So the working class, the lumpen proletariat, the unemployed, people who live on the streets, cannot afford health care. So they still need to take care of themselves. So how do they take care of themselves? Well, back in the day, they'd go to the fucking quack doctor, and they would get a bottle of Dr. Good, some patent medicine that was probably just oil and water mixed together in a bottle with, I don't know, maybe a little dose of cocaine thrown into it. But either way, this shit did not help you. That shit exists today. Like, all you gotta do is go on Instagram and you'll see like crunchy moms and all other sorts of people. And Dr. Sebi is really popular among the segment of the black community that can be called hoteps. Basically, they're really into metaphysical bullshit. Like, they think that the Illuminati controls the world. They think that black people were the original Native Americans. Stupid shit like that. But this type of stuff is really popular among the working class, and matter of fact, among like people who have money. Like Dr. Sebi was actually consulted by Michael Jackson and a bunch of other Hollywood and big music industry people. So just like delving into some of the stuff that he taught and reading the Wikipedia article, like this dude has promoted remedies, not even remedies, like has promoted concoctions and things that have killed people. So it's important for people to actually like go through this stuff and try to debunk it and struggle against it, because we don't want our people dead. We don't want our working class at the mercy of hucksters and others of that type. And if I recall correctly, Nipsey Hussle was working on a documentary about him when he died. Anyways, let's see what this quack has to say. A society that keeps cures a secret so they can continue to sell medication for huge profits is not a real society, but a huge mental asylum. So what cures is he talking about? He's talking about herbs, roots, berries, stuff like that. And this is by no means an attack on like holistic healing or natural healing, okay? My family is basically one generation out of a cotton field. Okay, they couldn't go to the doctor either. And so they knew what types of herbs and stuff you could take to cure a cold. There's nothing like wrong with that. But as we're going to see later, like when you're talking about like how herbs and stuff can cure AIDS or cure cancer, like that's actually killing people. You actually have to go and seek advanced medical treatment for those types of things. You cannot cure cancer or HIV with the fucking root. Okay? So for like mild relief of symptoms of disease, of the cold virus or influenza, yeah, by all means drink a fucking hot toddy. But like terminal medical conditions, you need to go see a fucking trained medical professional. Otherwise you're going to die. But like when you talk to hoteps, you'll hear stuff like, oh, they're not releasing the cure for AIDS because the Illuminati, ooh. And like, again, that type of stuff kills people.
Dr. Sebi was born Alfredo Bowman in a village in Spanish Honduras. He never had any formal schooling. He was self-educated. After coming to the United States, he was diagnosed with asthma, diabetes, impotency, and obesity. After unsuccessful...
So these conditions are actually really popular, or really prominent in the third world, because you have American and British imperialism that imports all of this trashy garbage food. Like that's the reason why obesity is an epidemic among poor people in the United States, because unhealthy food, nutty bars, oatmeal cream pies, sugar and high fructose corn syrup and grease, fast food, that shit is cheap. Healthy food is not, unless you grow it yourself. You don't see that many working class people shopping at Whole Foods. You see many working class people shopping at fucking Hostess bakery outlets and stuff like that. I mean, just look at your coworker's lunch. What is it? Fucking TV dinner with a Twinkie and a big ass bottle of soda. Like, you're not gonna live a long time if you eat that shit. So yes, you are what you eat, and it's good to have a healthy diet. But a healthy diet cannot prevent certain diseases.
Treatments with conventional doctors and traditional Western medicine, Sebi was led to an herbalist in Mexico.
So he told me that I could not eat meat any longer, no lamb. I could not drink any milk. And I abstained from all these things, and here I am now at 82. I'm happier than I've ever been in my life.
After being healed from his conditions, he began studying and cataloging herbs around the world. As a result,
So how the fuck is abstaining from eating meat and milk and stuff like that going to cure asthma and impotency? Okay, impotency means that your soldiers don't watch. Basically, you can't have kids. You cannot ejaculate regularly. Well, and he didn't take any insulin. So like, how the fuck are you going to be cured from diabetes? Like before they developed that, you know what? Well, you know what happened to people with diabetes? They fucking died.
he created natural vegetation cell food compounds that he claimed would cure people from diseases like herpes and AIDS.
The first patient was a brother in Boston named Michael White. I said, well, I must send him the compound. I removed from the man's diet lactose, uric acid, and carbonic acid.
This is basically the mark of a charlatan. Like, he talks with so much confidence. Like, that's why people believe what these charlatans have to say. It's pretty much the same with like religious cults or political cults. Like, if you talk as if you know what the fuck you're talking about, people will believe you, and people will pay you money for dirt in a fucking pill capsule.
Milk, starches, and meat. By removing these things from his diet and then cleansing his cells, he began to see recurrent 24.
How do you cleanse your cells? And keep in mind, this dude has never had any formal medical training. Like, how do you cleanse your cells?
4 hours. When I told my mama that I had cured my 13 AIDS patient, she said, they're gonna get you.
In the 1980s, Dr. Sebi ran a variety of ads stating that his institute cured AIDS.
AIDS has been cured by the Usher Institute. We specialize in cures for leukemia, sickle cell anemia, herpes, lupus, and male-female disorders using the African biomineral balance. Sickle cell anemia, claiming that you've come up with a cure for sickle cell is especially heinous, because it was the work of the Black Panther Party that like actually put sickle cell anemia on the docket in regards to mainstream medicine. Because like, we used to just fucking drop dead from it. Your fucking blood cells are shaped like moons, and they can't go through your blood vessels correctly. It was the Black Panther Party that actually took the initiative in going out and testing black people who are the primary sufferers from this disease for sickle cell. So claiming that you can cure these things, never mind AIDS, which impacted working class queer people, working class Haitian people, working class people who needed blood transfusions. Like, they literally kicked the kid out of school named Ryan White, because the people back then were so fucking stupid. They thought that you could catch AIDS from a handshake or being coughed on. No, AIDS is transmitted through blood, bodily fluids. And the kid, Ryan White, he got it from a blood transfusion, and he ended up dying, but they tried to kick the kid out of school. As a matter of fact, if I recall correctly, they did kick this kid out of school because he caught HIV from something that was not his fault. I mean, he was a fucking little kid. So claiming that you've cured these diseases, you're capitalizing on people's suffering and misery, like that is just inexcusable. 2 minutes in and I already hate this guy.
Sickle cell, lupus, blindness, herpes, cancer, and other incurable diseases. The ad caught the eye of the Food and Drug Administration, and they sued Dr. Sebi for false advertisement and practicing.
Yeah, because you were falsely advertising that you can cure these as yet incurable diseases, and you're practicing medicine without a license. You literally don't have any schooling, and you are advertising and taking advantage of poor people's misery and ignorance and telling them things that are not true. Yeah, you're practicing medicine without a license.
Without a license.
You defended yourself. Of course I did. I knew that I had sufficient evidence to prove my position.
During the trial, the judge requested Dr. Sebi provide one witness for each disease that he claimed he cured. Each witness had to bring documentation that showed they had a disease from one doctor and documentation that they no longer had the disease from a separate doctor. Dr. Sebi was able to provide over 70 witnesses. He was not taken to court to prove he cured AIDS, but many say he still did so within this trial because his witnesses presented verified medical documents proving they had been healed after they said they saw.
That shit is extremely easy to forge. So they might as well just add fucking perjury onto the list of shit that he did.
Sebi's help. After hours of questioning and testing Dr. Sebi's compounds, he was found not guilty because his products were essentially food and he was not diagnosing patients. Dr. Sebi took on the Attorney General and won.
Not only did I prove scientifically, but I had the diagnostic sheets, and I do have them today. And those diagnostic sheets didn't come from me. They came from their school, their American medical accredited school.
When you look at the court documents, it says Dr. Sebi, Alfredo Bowman, which is my father, my aunt Bowman, and Fig Tree Products. That's what was proven in court. You know what I mean? That's what one court. They sent that.
So this is another thing. Like, people always love an underdog, okay? So this black man with no education from a colonized country, Spanish Honduras, which if I recall correctly is currently known as Belize. This dude from Central America, he went up against the might of the United States government and Food and Drug Administration and won. So people are going to be like, yeah, they were fucking with him and he won. So there must be something to it. That just helps him perpetuate his fucking scam.
To Lancaster Laboratories, and it was proven as electric cell food. That's why if you look at the fig tree, we call it electric cell food. That's what's been proven in court.
The man known as Dr. Sebi claims to have found the cure for several life-threatening diseases, including AIDS. Too good to be true? Well, you be the judge. The lump in Myrtle Rick's left breast is gone.
I haven't had any symptoms or problems, anything.
Sabrina Peterson's son no longer disabled by sickle cell anemia.
He has a lot of energy. I have to make him rest.
Disease is cured by this man. His name is Dr. Sebi, but you won't find a medical degree hanging from his wall. Instead, a certificate of healing.
How did Dr. Sebi say he was healing people of these incurable diseases? The basis behind his approach is cleaning the body of excess mucus, which is believed to be the root of all disease.
Wow, didn't they stop believing that shit in like the fucking 16th century?
Sebi stated, "Our research reveals that all manifestation of disease finds its genesis when mucous membrane has been compromised. For example, if there is excess mucus in the bronchial tubes, the disease is bronchitis. In the joints, arthritis." Basically, he believed disease will arise in the body when there is an overaccumulation of this stagnant toxin. He said acid creates toxic mucus and congests the system, leading to inflammation. Sebi preached an alkaline diet will do the opposite and support vitality.
My approach is an intracellular cleansing. You have people eating hog, potatoes, rice, and beans. But if we take this substance to a biochemist, he's not going to find any food in any of these substances.
If something is of usefulness in my structure, in my biological structure, it must necessarily be electrical. And
what?
The only substance that is electrical are those substances that come from the forest we call the jungle. Because the molecular structure is complete, it's not broken. How I found out.
He's looking like a fucking mummy. This is a sick man. This is not a well man. Look at how skinny he is.
That black people should be vegetarians, because when I begin to remove you from that meat and that stuff, that grease, you begin to say in 1 week, how the pain that you had for years begin to disappear.
His family claims for 30 years he reversed a range of incurable ailments using his compounds and his nutritional approach. He also claimed to cure blindness. He shared this story during one of his speeches.
Young man, I said, yes, sir. I heard that you've been experimenting with herbs. He said, yes. Well, I'm blind. I'm blind for 10, 11 years. Could you help me? I said, I'll try. If you make me see, I give you $1 million. I gave the man the substance. When am I going to see? I said, about Friday. Now, why did I select Friday until this day? I don't know. But I was so sure of myself. But how could a boy that didn't go to school be so sure of himself? The man went home with the medicine. And the Wednesday, good morning, young man. I raised my right hand. He said, you raise your right hand. I winked my left eye. He said, you wink your left eye. I said, the man is seeing. At that point of my journey, I couldn't explain that. I know it's a bunch of herbs that cleanse the man's body, but they were all alkali plants.
He also said he was able to heal people of mental illness,
Oh my God, how many poor people did he drive to suicide?
something he himself struggled with.
I became very sick. I was angry. I want to blow my brains out. I want to kill my wife. And she was the sweetest woman in the world. Why I want to kill her? Because I was sick. You could be offering and deploying things that are hurtful to others and you're totally unaware. I was in what you call a psychiatric ward, schizophrenic and paranoia. Later to walk out of it, to heal that. Every disease begins right here. I mean right here. I don't care if you're blind or if you're insane, it's right here. That acid state influences the brain and the central nerve system.
Wow, so you have crippling mental illness because your gut has too much mucus in it.
It changes the image in your eyes. You do not see with your eyes. Your eyes is only the lens that the brain looks through. What the brain sees is what you're gonna see. I had a lady from Mexico, and that lady would say, "No, don't let them take me. No!" And there was nobody there. I made an extract from the Cascara Sagrada. She said that when she went to the bathroom upon taking the Cascara Sagrada extract, she looked in the commode and she saw some berries that she ate 12 years prior. They were large.
Bruh, you have this lady shitting out 12-year-old berries. You need to fucking stop.
And they became molded and sent off that negative message. Again, the mucous membrane in the intestine were compromised. She no longer crazy.
His wife Ma'a gave him the name Sebi, and locals began calling him doctor after they saw him heal fatal illnesses.
There was a little boy that was dying. It was his spleen, but nobody knew it was his spleen, and he laid there, and he was like 5 years old. This is Dominica again. Mm-hmm. And so he was laying there, and he could hardly walk. And the doctors had said he was going to die. And so we gave him the herbs, and he was up and around. When people are healed, everybody is Dr. Sebi, Dr. Sebi.
Because of the act that he's performing, you're helping someone to achieve wellness. And so in that act, one identifies it with a doctor. So they begin to call him that.
You're just going around eating all these random ass herbs like a caveman.
Dr. Sebi not only wanted to heal people of their ailments, he also wanted everyone to truly love themselves.
He brought more than just, okay, take these herbs and you heal.
I wonder if that water is alkaline.
Healed. You felt what you feel when you listen to Sebi. You feel good about yourself and you feel strong, and it was the healing of the nation. It is the healing of the nation because that's the other part of the healing, for us to have that self-worth, that self-confidence.
The love that's going to secure you through life is the love that you offer yourself. These are the things that we need to cultivate, not the dependency of another. Why should you be dependent on me for love? On yourself. That love that you have for you, that love would never die.
Dr. Sebi created Usha Healing Village, where hundreds of people have traveled to receive healing of their ailments. This village is located in Honduras, Central America, and is named after one of his oldest daughters.
The Usha Village was opened right after the court case. You know, my father had his court case in 1988, and then right after that, we went out there, my mother, my father, the whole family, and he founded the Usha Village, and we didn't take out loans for that. That was funded directly out of his pocket, out of the Fig.
Yeah, you used it out of the money that you conned out of poor people.
Pocket. No, we're not involved in the Usha Village at all. That's something that's definitely important to clarify to people, because that's being ran by my father's ex-business partners, which reside out in Los Angeles, which operate, a different entity.
Dr. Sebi's work was well respected in entertainment circles, with clients including the late Lisa Left Eye Lopez, John Travolta, Eddie Murphy, Michael Jackson, and Nipsey Hussle.
I take his products for sure. I'm working on doing a documentary on the trial in 1985.
people actually think that Nipsey was killed because he was during that documentary. It just shows how deep conspiracy theorist shit is embedded in Black and Latino working class and lumpen proletarian communities.
How did Lisa Left Eye Lopez discover Dr. Sebi?
You know, I just could not believe that there was not a cure for, I don't care what disease, especially AIDS. I could not believe it. And about a week later, I was in the studio talking to a producer friend of mine named Michael Anthony, and he just decided to tell me about a man that he knew who had the cure, and that man was Dr. Sebi.
Lisa traveled to the Usha village in Honduras and later shared her story with MTV.
In the tiny village, Lisa sought guidance for body and soul from an herbal guru named Dr. Sebi.
Dr. Sebi, you know, according to him, can cure anything. Everything from...
Celebrities oftentimes fall for like cult shit. Because like they're isolated and creative types seem to be like more prone to that type of thing. Artists, musicians, actors, etc. And what these con artists like Dr. Sebi do is they lean on these people. Oh, are you smarter than Michael Jackson? Are you smarter than Eddie Murphy or John Travolta or Lisa Left Eye Lopez? And that actually draws even more people in. I mean, I'm using what the stars use. So doubly insidious. Plus, these celebrities are surrounded by hucksters and con artists anyways. They're basically walking bags of money. And many of these people are quite gullible and naive. And they fall for these cons that people who they trust are involved with or are wrapped up in.
Trying to lose weight to, you know, looking for a cure for AIDS. People go there with hopes and dreams that Dr. Sebi can somehow save them.
She had been through so many intense problems in her career and in her life and in her personal life that she didn't know where to turn. And this doctor, she said,
of taking advantage of people's suffering. Like celebrities go through shit too. They go through divorces. They have mental illnesses. She actually died in a car accident, if I recall correctly. But yeah. So taking advantage of people's misery and pain, rich, famous, or poor. Insidious way to do business.
Had shown her how to really open up and cleanse all of the negativity out of her.
She told me she was suffering with alcoholism and that she was smoking excessively, cigarettes, drinking and smoking. She asked me, what do I need to do to stay on the side of peace? I said, fast, do what Jesus did. She said, what did Jesus do? He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. At the ending of the fasting, she came to me. I heard the door opening at 2 o'clock in the morning. She said, I completed my fast this morning. I said, what did you see? I saw God.
I imagine you did. You basically had this lady starve herself for 40 days and 40 nights. That can actually induce delusions.
She said, I'm going to make you famous. I said, how? Because I'm going to talk about you. Does everyone know you cure AIDS and cancer?
There's just a lot of people in the world who are suffering. They're sick. They're not happy. They're looking for answers. They don't know where to turn. Well, I know a man who's been curing AIDS since 1987. This guy has taught me a lot, and I need to share my knowledge, you know, with the world.
Sebi also claimed to have healed Michael Jackson.
What I did for him was this. I gave Michael an intracellular chelation. He was full of a whole lot of drugs, you know, the pharmaceutical drugs.
Yeah.
Couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
His nerve was shattered. So I began treating him.
Yeah.
And at the ending of the period, he was doing good and I left. I was with him from February until September. At the ending of September, I told him, I'm leaving. He said, don't leave me. I said, why? He said, I want you by my side, but I have a business to build.
He also said he helped Steven Seagal.
You know what this is like? When Steven Seagal tells me to come to his house because he had a headache for 5 years. Well, I knew why the headache was in his head. It was removed in less than 10 minutes. He had the bottle and said, "This bottle is powerful."
Many people have criticized Sebi, calling him a fraud, quack, and scam artist.
I don't
He's all three of these things.
think I'm the only person that wouldn't take advice from someone who was in a mental hospital from schizophrenia and paranoia. If we actually hear what he has to say, things become a bit wacky.
Glucose is the underlying enemy. Whenever you indulge in glucose, it would be difficult to lose fat.
Is that why nearly every cell in the body uses glucose for energy? The man is 120 pounds at 6'2", has clearly been depriving himself of both calories and nutrition, and he's literally knocking on death's door right here.
He was not a doctor. He was simply a fraudulent individual with no education who took advantage of scientifically illiterate and impressionable people. The first ridiculous claim that I will address is that germs don't exist.
This is the Supreme Court.
Wow, he's kicking it old school. He's going all the way back to the fucking before Christ era.
Of the United States, the judge said, "What did you say?" I said, "There is no such thing as a..."
Like, this dude is basically denying basic facts of modern medical science. Of course germs exist. Like, germ theory is basically standard.
A germ, a virus, or a bacteria. Then what is it? I said, "Man, it is a microbe that is generated in the body when erosion begins. If I take a very healthy human being and lay them on the table and not move them for a month, when I raise them, what are they going to have on their back? A bed sore. And inside that bed sore would be some little worms, isn't it? Sure. But where did the worms come from and where were they birthed? In the man himself. But why the bed sore? You didn't move that person. That part of him was lacking of oxygen. Now we go internal. When those cells cease to receive oxygen, they break down. If the erosion is in the nostril, it is what? Sinusitis. If it's in the bronchial tubes, it's bronchitis.
The claim that bacteria and viruses don't exist, such an
Like, we need a body count for this guy. And I'm not talking about like how many people he may have killed, or like how many people he misadvised. I mean, like, how many people died directly because of shit that was given to them by this dude? Like, it has to be in the hundreds, if not the thousands. This is too much.
Egregious example of scientific ignorance. It's even more egregious than saying the world is flat.
Sebi has ignored all criticism. He stated everyone has been taught to accept Western medicine and reject anything outside of that realm. Despite the criticism, his career continued to thrive, but he struggled to maintain his romantic relationships.
You know, my father was a Rolling Stone. Everybody kind of knows that.
He had 4 marriages, legal and bigamous. He married a woman named Melba Jean in the late 1950s, then Ma'a in the 1970s, and began his healing journey. He married Annette Thomas in the 1980s and Patsy Williams around the late 90s, early 2000s.
The official Dr. Sebi wife is Melba Jean Bowman. She's been married legally to Dr. Sebi for 56 years. That's the legal wife. That's the standing wife of Dr. Sebi.
Sebi claimed all of these marriages.
I've been married 4 times. I love women. Every woman I've been with, I love now.
Annette met Dr. Sebi in St. Croix. He opened his first store on the island with Ma'a. Annette attended one of his speaking engagements.
So he's a misogynist. He basically thinks he has this harem of women. Again, misogyny is something that's very common in hoteps. Like, those dudes fucking despise women. Like, there's a lot of overlap between them and the white incel spear / manosphere.
It's a burst of fresh air, you know? I said, wow, because he wasn't working by himself then. His partner, Olu, was there, Karen, his wife, my aunt, they were all working together when I met them.
It was a team.
It was a team. I'm be a part of this. All of them had moved from California to St. Croix, and they was not interested in coming back to the United States. They wanted the Caribbean to be their permanent home.
Right.
Yeah, I talked him into.
I imagine because he got married in the United States, the Caribbean, like it offered him more leeway to practice his polygamy, and it also offered him more leeway to practice his scams because he'd already been in trouble in the States, so he went down there to evade getting in any more trouble.
Coming back.
Dr. Sebi soon opened a fig tree store in New York. Annette became his third wife. Many years later, Patsy traveled to the Usha village and began assisting Sebi and Ma'a. Ma'a explains why she and Dr. Sebi separated.
There was many women I couldn't take anymore. As I said to Sebi, you cured all these women, you helped all these women, and they love you. And that's
Oh, so a scam artist and a medical quack that's also taking advantage of these scientifically illiterate women to basically induce them to have sex with him. Very typical.
fair to them because you're taking advantage of them because they will do anything for you. They love you.
Ma'a continued the healing work through the fig tree with her daughters and son. Dr. Sebi moved to LA and opened an office there. He married Patsy and she continued to work for him.
This dude is basically an international jet-setting con artist. Well, I said he fled to the Caribbean, so apparently he's still operating in the United States. What they fucking do. America's the home of con artists and scam artists anyways.
He then had to start a new company after Patsy allegedly stole from him. His many romantic relationships allegedly produced more than 20 children.
My dad had quite a few children. You know what I mean? It's many of us in different factions.
Tell them what is good for your pressure. Tell them what people need when they're weak.
Iron.
That's my daughter. Now look, I'm 79. The nigga's 79 with a baby now.
Yeah.
I was hitting you up. Man, I didn't know my own son. Yeah, this is a gentleman to help me. Yeah. Hey, I didn't know my own son. Wow. This young man knows his daddy. Understand? He grew up with me.
Critics try to use his personal life as a way to tarnish his name, but Ma'a rejects these views.
Sebi is a great healer, and all his personal life has nothing to do with it.
He has openly spoken about his shortcomings.
I was in a state of disarray, and I didn't know it. At the time, I was involved with 3 different wives, Matum, Annette, and Ma'a. My life was not as stable because I had other women pregnant. You know, a young girl, 19 years old.
Uh-oh. A pedo. Just say, man, just say you're a fucking philanderer, like most scam artists. Like, don't try to... And these women are still covering for it. This is some fucked up shit.
Pregnant. I was, like, emotionally out of it. So Lisa said to me that I needed help. And she was right.
There's an African proverb that says, when an old man dies, a library burns to the ground. There's much controversy surrounding the death of Dr. Sebi. He was arrested along with his associate Pablo Medina for being in the possession of $37,000 in cash in an airport on a Caribbean island off the coast of Honduras. Authorities stated he was suspected of laundering money. His friends, family, and patients vehemently denied the charges.
It's a very sad video to see. It's a very sad thing to see because you can see that he was broken. You can see that he was hurt. To give of yourself your whole heart. I don't care about this money thing. Forget this money thing, the product and selling it in the internet and world. He gave of himself. Him.
His family attempted to...
What does that tangibly mean? Like, what exactly did you give people? You gave them some roots and you gave them some herbs. And you probably didn't give that. You might have filled these fucking capsules with dirt for all we know.
Get him released from custody to no avail. He was held for over a month with no court date, and bail was never set. After a month of being held in prison, he reportedly became sick with pneumonia, and his condition quickly deteriorated. He passed away shortly after. Before Dr. Sebi entered prison, he was in optimal health.
See Mars have me doing things every morning like this. That's see Mars, okay? See Mars have me falling on my knees every morning to check him.
Reps from Dr. Sebi's institute stated limited information was given on the type of treatment he received. His autopsy was never released. Many people believe Dr. Sebi was murdered, while others strongly disagree.
And my grandfather wasn't killed on no governmental foul play either. Let's clear that up. They didn't wait all these years to where Dr. Sebi turned 83 years old and said, hey, let's come after him now. Let's clear that up. My grandfather died in a prison of starvation. No governmental foul play. He didn't want to eat the food. He wasn't going to drink the water. So he went out his way.
There was a reporter that was there the day before his transition, which was on Saturday, August 6th of 2016. And on that Friday, there was a reporter down there, and, they reported that he was, I had spoke to him, and they reported that he was totally fine in good health that Friday, So transitioning from Friday into Saturday, no, it shouldn't have been anything that was different.
I spoke to him about 3 days before he had passed.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be able to say from that conversation that he passed from pneumonia, not based on the information that I've obtained, where he said he had been on a 2-week fast at the time. And so he was feeling low.
Like the dude said, he starved himself to death.
And he needed something, and you can tell, But I wouldn't be able to attest that he died of pneumonia. Besides, we had a confession. And so, no, I don't believe that.
You had a confession?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A confession as to, like, how he actually died, or
as to how someone participated in his death. But we don't want to speak names, times, things of that nature, because it's an ongoing investigation right now. And I'm very happy that that person came to us to let us know what their part was in it and why, and we appreciate that. But it's an ongoing investigation as to what happened. And no, it wasn't pneumonia.
Wow.
It may have been the symptom of from what was done, no doubt, but there was intrusive factors.
What were his last words to you on that phone call when he was locked up?
I know someone's trying to kill me, so I refuse to eat the food in here. I'm not touching this food.
He starved himself to death.
That's why I'm fasting.
Shit.
A lot of this, I'm sorry, Mommy.
Some say he was assassinated because he could eventually disrupt the billion-dollar pharmacy industry.
How?
Why do they kill all holistic doctors?
Messing up the medical industry.
You short-stopping their grind. Why do you get killed for hustling in front of a spot? You short-stopping the grind. And they check is billions. You got that get flipped for a couple $100,000.
They felt that he was a threat to their agenda. And what I was told is that the incoming president, her name was Eugenia Charles. The United States had decided that they was going to sell the island of Dominica, which has 365 rivers of some of the fresh, most living water on the earth. It was selling them on buying fluoride to fluorinate the water.
Wow.
What? Oh, so we've got an anti-fluoride conspiracy theorist. All of these people are fucking nuts.
Sebi was there, and everybody knows Sebi's going to be a whistleblower. He's going to expose the poison.
After Dr. Sebi's death, the charges were dropped and Pablo Medina was released from prison.
young man, he had purchased something from someone and he put it on his head, that poultice, and it caused his whole face to blow up and his head to get very big. And it was just like, oh, I have no, this is allegedly.
Hold on, let's take a look at
one, and he put it on his head, that poultice, and it caused his whole face to blow up and his head to get very
This is why you don't buy things from quacks.
big. And it was just like,
Jesus Christ. It looks like a fucking Nestle Crunch bar. Like his whole fucking scalp is peeling off and cracked.
oh, I have no, this is allegedly.
Many of you have asked why we have not tried to help Mr. Jermell Brown with his current health. I want to let everyone know that we have reached out to Jermell on several occasions. As soon as we learned that he had posted some videos on social media, we contacted him to offer help. However, Mr. Jermell Brown retained legal counsel and directed us to his attorneys.
It's amazing that they've taken something so pure and so beautiful that saved my mother's life, and they take it and turned it into something that actually harmed someone.
My grandfather's product is compromised. And when I say compromised, those are not Dr. Sebi formulas anymore. Look how many people getting side effects from those products. You don't want anything pertaining to Dr. Sebi cell food. Don't follow the fake Instagram. Don't follow that website. Those are
Well, hold on. Look at those prices that they're charging.
fake Instagram. Don't.
$750 for the advanced package. $750. So that's a whole check for a working class person. And they spend it on this stuff that might make their entire fucking face swell up and crack their scalp open like an egg.
Follow that website. Those are not Dr. Sebi's formulas.
People out of. You're not a healer, bro. You're not a healer. Bro, them Dr. Sebi cell food products is garbage, bro. You're not a healer, Pablo. You never have and never will, Pablo.
These other people that have been attaching themselves to my father's name because of money, so forth and so on, they don't know how to do the healing. They haven't done it. You know what I mean? It was my mother and it was my father. Now all these other entities attach themselves and they've trademarked my father's name, Dr. Sebi, but they don't know how to do the work. They haven't accomplished that, and it's unfortunate.
Has the LA office been infiltrated?
So this dude's family is like in a Game of Thrones style beef over like the legitimate heirs of his products. Like all of this shit is making people sick. Like let's just look on the website. I guess this is the Pablo dude's website. So let's see what type of stuff that they're claiming to sell. Okay, testo for testosterone, I guess. Revitalize your sexual vitality and reclaim your masculinity. Boost testosterone and enhance sexual virility naturally. The potent herbs have helped thousands of men enhance sexual stamina, increase erectile strength, and reclaim sexual drive and desire. Sarsaparilla vine, an aphrodisiac native to Honduras, increases blood flow, helping the penis get engorged. Yohimbe, a West African sexual enhancer, contains testosterone-boosting alkaloids, enhancing vigor. Locust bark's antioxidants and glycosides reduce inflammation and improve erectile blood flow. So basically, this shit makes your dick hard. It makes it stay hard. They want $50 for this shit. There's 90 little capsules in there. Okay. You got iron supplement, Banju, which unlocks your brain's full potential, Bioferrotonic, Viento, which is for energy, Estro, which is I guess that's for feminine health, yeah, estrogen, hair food oil, Bioferro capsules, Bromide Plus capsules, Eva Salve, tooth powder. They want you to use that to replace toothpaste. Let's see, what's the ingredients in here? Mere gum, Encino's tannins, which promote gum health and tighten sockets. Anti-inflammatory cucciolate, which strengthens gums and promotes rejuvenation of cells lining the mouth. So those are not the active ingredients in any brand of toothpaste. So it's just liable to make your teeth fall out. And they got all sorts of shit on here. Nutritional guide. Get started on a diet. What do they want you to eat? So let's see. I guarantee they're going to try to sell you this. To follow the alkaline diet, it's important to avoid consuming foods that have an acidic effect on the body, including meat, dairy, eggs, processed food, refined carbohydrates, sugary drinks, and alcoholic beverages. So this is some type of class, I guess. I don't want to sign up for that. But yeah, that's his Pablo guy's website. Gosh. Like, this is basically like crunchy mom shit for black people.
Actually, no, it has not been infiltrated at all.
I see the name Jenny come about at the LA office. Who is Jenny?
Actually, Jenny is the president of the office. She's the person who managed the office as well. And that's the person that my dad hired. She was the one of the new people that my dad hired in 2014.
Baba Sebi's business, both the village in Honduras and that LA office, is left solely under Selma Bowman. So this is Dr. Sebi's legacy that you're looking at. This is Dr. Sebi's legacy right here, along with his 16-year-old son Victor and his 5-year-old daughter Tawa.
The only authentic and original products are Dr. Sebi's Self Food.
What do you say to the people that say his daughter says the product is fine?
I don't know anything of her saying that these products is okay. She's not here in LA. She don't know anything about the formulas that's being, put out on the street.
What we're using is my father's formulas from when he first started. And not only that, but we have also improved some of the formulas. We're his legitimate legacy. We're the Bowmans.
The original products can still be gotten from myself and my daughter. Also, his previous wife, Ma'a, she also have original compounds. In fact, her children and my child, they all are connected. They all speak with each other. I don't know what is the reason why this grandson is saying these things, because I remember at one time I hired him to work with us as well, and there were reasons why he was not working with us.
Annette Thomas currently sells products through Greenleaf Herbal Solutions. Many consumers say they trust the fig tree because Dr. Sebi created the original formulas with this company, and these were the products used to heal the 77 witnesses that appeared during his court case.
I like to always see myself as practicing our ancient practices of our ancestors and going to collect that herb and putting it in the pot, boiling it, and making it with love. We're very careful with how we produce our products. We're very careful with when we order the products, what time of year, because we want to make sure that it's not hybridized or genetically modified. When we prepare it, what energy state we're in, what mind state are we in, what state is our body in, because all of that goes into your creation. It's art. We had 78 cases of AIDS last year and 52 cases of herpes last year. So whether or not he could cure, we are still using his very exact formula till today. Did people all of a sudden stop getting cured? No, people didn't.
This lady's voice is putting me to sleep, but yeah, there's like 7 minutes left in this trash. But yeah, don't fall for this shit. Like, I can't believe I have to say this, but like, you cannot cure horrible diseases like cancer and herpes and AIDS and sickle cell anemia and leukemia with roots and plants and dirt and other stuff like that. And like, I've studied alternative methods of healing. But like those work for conditions like colds, flu, stuff like that. They don't work for terminal illnesses. Like you have to trust modern medicine on things of that nature. But like again, like there's reasons why people believe in this stuff. For one, Sebi was an underdog. For two, like he appealed to the stolen consciousness and pride of black people in the diaspora. So people like an underdog and people like it when you make them feel good and claim that you're connecting them with some type of ancestral tradition. So am I dumping on holistic alternative healing? Absolutely not, because that would be Western chauvinism, and I'm not a Western chauvinist. But like, you're killing people with this stuff that you're trying to that you're selling to people. But regardless, if you have cancer, if you have AIDS, if you have diabetes, go see a doctor. I don't want to hear about you dying from because you rubbed mud or something all on your scalp. That's no good. Anyways, tomorrow we're going to be watching Concerning Violence, which is based on Franz Fanon's Wretched of the Earth. And you are going to benefit from my hackneyed and prejudiced and biased analysis. So, see you tomorrow at midnight.